Hello, my name is Welcome to the Bearer of Bad News. I'm your host, Lore Bear, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, so I won't. This is your weekly recap of positive news stories from around the world. Articles included in this broadcast were originally published from March 1st to March 7th, 2026. The stories in this episode are sourced from various news outlets and publications. The Bearer of Bad News does not conduct independent fact-checking or verification of these stories. Listeners are encouraged to review original sources for accuracy and complete context. We are not responsible for the accuracy or content of third-party reporting, which is a fancy way of saying, I read it, I didn't report it. And here are this week's stories. First up, in this week, we have Science and Health. Starting out with heart disease detection through breast cancer screenings. An article in the Washington Post entitled "The Surprising Way Breast Cancer Screenings Could Reveal Heart Disease." Routine mammograms that screen for breast cancer can also flag the risk of heart disease, the leading and often under-recognized cause of death in women, according to a new study in the European Heart Journal. For decades, radiologists have observed that breast cancer screening scans also reveal calcium deposits in the arteries woven through breast tissue, which cause the blood vessels to stiffen. The new study shows how artificial intelligence can be used at scale to opportunistically turn this incidental finding into a warning system for an entirely different category of disease. Researchers used AI to quantify the calcium deposits on arteries in more than 120,000 breast cancer screening scans and found that more severe breast cancer artery calcification, BAC, was a marker of increased risk for heart failure, heart attacks, stroke, and death. The public health opportunity to flag hidden risks for heart disease is potentially massive. More than 40 million people get mammograms in the U.S. each year. Studies have shown that many women mistakenly believe that breast cancer is the leading cause of death, and they may not take as seriously the much greater risk of heart disease. If there is a way to educate women in place where they are anyway, like when getting a mammogram, it could be a game changer, said Mary Cushman, a professor of pathology and laboratory medicine at the Larner College of Medicine at the University of Vermont. Cushman, who was not involved in the study, added that one of the most interesting findings was that the method could predict risk in women younger than 50. It's a clarion call that younger women do have risk, that it can be detected, and the detection of risk should lead to interventions to reduce risk even at young ages, Cushman wrote in an email. She added that this does not mean a cancer screening should replace traditional monitoring of cardiovascular risk. In addition, out of South Florida, chemo patients are getting a taste of relief. On nationaltoday.com, South Florida's Miracle Berry helps cancer patients taste food again during chemotherapy. The small red dulcificum berry is changing the game for those struggling with taste changes from cancer treatment. A small red berry called Syncypalum dulcificum, or the miracle fruit, is helping cancer patients in South Florida regain their sense of taste during chemotherapy. The berry has an incredible effect on taste buds, making sour or bitter foods taste sweet for about 30 to 40 minutes. This allows patients to enjoy eating again, which is crucial for maintaining strength and continuing treatment. Why it matters? Chemotherapy and radiation treatments can cause dramatic changes in taste perception for cancer patients, making many foods seem unappetizing or even inedible. The miracle berry provides a way for these patients to regain the pleasure of eating, helping them get the nutrition they need to stay healthy during their fight against cancer. The details. The miracle fruit plant thrives in the warm, humid climate of South Florida, USDA zones 10 and 11, but requires very acidic soil with a pH between 4.5 and 5.8. It can be grown in containers to better control the soil conditions. The berries themselves are delicate and lose their effect within 48 hours, so they're typically sold frozen in cubes to preserve their potency. What they're saying. Chemo patients often describe their sense of taste as metallic or even like rotten food. The miracle fruit isn't a cure, he's quick to point out, but it's a powerful tool. It helps people get the nutrition they need and makes meals enjoyable again, which is no small thing. Dr. Mike Kusnier, oncologist eaglewoodreview.com. What's next? Researchers at the National Institutes of Health and Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center plan to continue studying the effects of the miracle fruit on cancer patients undergoing chemotherapy. And the last Science and Health update for this week: anti-aging injection regrows knee cartilage and prevents arthritis, as posted in scitechdaily.com by Stanford Medicine. Scientists have identified a way to regenerate cartilage by targeting a protein that increases with age, reversing joint damage in older animals and preventing arthritis after injury. A treatment that blocks age-related protein restored cartilage in aging and injured joints by reprogramming existing cells rather than using stem cells. Researchers at Stanford Medicine report that blocking a protein linked to aging can restore cartilage that naturally wears away in the knees of older mice. In the study, the injectable treatment not only rebuilt cartilage but also stopped arthritis from developing after knee injuries similar to ACL tears, which are common among athletes and active adults. A pill-based version of the same therapy is already being tested in clinical trials aimed at treating muscle weakness associated with aging. Human knee tissue collected during joint replacement surgeries also responded positively to the treatment. These samples, which included both the joint supporting extracellular scaffolding, or matrix, and cartilage-producing chondrocyte cells, began forming new cartilage that functioned normally. Together, these findings point to the possibility that cartilage lost through aging or arthritis could one day be restored using a localized injection or an oral medication, potentially eliminating the need for knee or hip replacement surgery. Targeting the root cause of osteoarthritis rather than easing symptoms, the treatment works by addressing the underlying driver of osteoarthritis. This degenerative joint condition affects roughly 1 in 5 adults in the United States and generates an estimated $65 billion in direct healthcare costs each year. At present, no available medication can halt or reverse the disease, leaving pain management and joint replacement as the primary treatment options. The therapy suggests a protein called 15-PGDH, which becomes more abundant as the body ages and is classified as a gerosome. Gerosomes, first described by the same research team in 2023, play a central role in aging by contributing to the gradual decline of tissue function. In mice, rising levels of 15-PGDH are a key factor in the loss of muscle strength that occurs with age. When scientists block this protein using a small molecule, older mice show gains in muscle mass and endurance. In contrast, forcing young mice to produce 15-PGDH causes their muscles to weaken and shrink. The protein has also been linked to the regeneration of bone, nerve, and blood cells. In those tissues, repairs depend on the activation and specialization of tissue-specific stem cells. Cartilage behaves differently. Instead of relying on stem cells, chondrocytes alter their gene activity in ways that restore a more youthful state, allowing regeneration to occur without stem cell involvement. This is a new way of regenerating adult tissue and has a significant clinical promise for treating arthritis due to aging or injury, said Helen Blau, PhD, professor of microbiology and immunology. We are looking for stem cells, but they are clearly not involved. It's very exciting. Blau, who directs the Baxter Laboratory for Stem Cell Biology and is the Donald E. and Delia B. Baxter Foundation Professor, and Nidhi Bhutani, PhD, Associate Professor of Orthopedic Surgery, are the senior authors of the research, which was in Science. Instructor of Orthopedic Surgery, Matma Singla, PhD, former postdoctoral scholar Wu Jing Will Wang, PhD, are the lead authors of the study. Wang is now an assistant professor at the Stanford Burnham Institute in San Diego. And that's it for our science and health news for today. Moving on to environment and conservation, we have good news coming out of Hawaii, where they're removing ocean garbage. On our good friend, goodnewsnetwork.org, we have Hawaii University hauls 84 tons of derelict fishing gear from Pacific Ocean garbage patch. In just over 3 years, Hawaii Pacific University's Bounty Project has removed over 185,000 pounds, 84 metric tons, of derelict fishing gear from the North Pacific Ocean by turning commercial fishing trips into opportunities for ocean cleanup. By pulling nets, lines, and floats out of the water before they can drift into reefs, shorelines, or threaten endangered marine wildlife, the Bounty Project is one of only 3 known efforts to remove debris in the distant North Pacific garbage patch. The Bounty Project was organized by the University Center for Marine Debris Research and was launched in November 2022, according to a novel, straightforward idea: position the fishermen already working in the ocean at the center of the solution. It may be that certain irresponsible fishermen are responsible for the ghost gear that can do so much harm to marine life, but in economics, incentives matter. Through partnerships with the Hawaii Longline Association and the Hawaii Department of Land and Natural Resources, eligible commercial fishermen are compensated to recover derelict gear during routine fishing activity, so removal occurs at sea, not after debris had already reached the shore. It is incredible that we are now approaching 200,000 pounds of gear removed from the ocean through this project, says HPU CMDR project manager Katie Stevens in a statement. And it has been great to see the enthusiasm and engagement of the commercial fishers as stewards of the ocean's environment. Supported through a 2022 award from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA or NOAA, Marine Debris Program, with Ocean Conservancy providing matching funds, the Bounty Project has helped scale up removals and strengthen the project's recovery system and partnerships. This project stands out for its innovative approach, partnering with commercial fishers towards a solution. Compensating those already on the water to remove derelict fishing gear maximizes both efficiency and environmental benefit, shared Mark Manuel, NOAA Marine Debris Program Pacific Island Region Coordinator. 77 commercial fishermen conducted more than 690 ghost gear seizures, with the objects taken ashore either for refuse recycling, energy recovery, or responsible disposal. Participating non-longline fishermen removed gear within 12 hours of first detection 88% of the time, helping to prevent debris from repeatedly snagging and dragging across sensitive habitat. One scientist's brilliant solution: the project included monthly surveillance of sensitive reef habitats, including Kaneohe Bay, supporting rapid response recovery where derelict gear poses immediate risk. The financial reward has created friendly competition and results in a very rapid response to get the nets off of reefs to give the corals a fighting chance of survival, commented Hank Lynch, a fisherman who participated in the project. When the nets are too large, we call on the other bounty fishers for help to split the reward. The payment helps to diversify the income of commercial fishers and supports maintenance of our vessels, so we have the capacity to continue his work. In addition, our next article is bringing the roboplastic to the robo-fish. This robotic fish eats microplastics like plankton from a-z-animals.com. Also reported on the other sites, but I liked their reporting the best, so I went with them. Microplastics are found in oceans and waterways all over the world. We are only just beginning to understand the damage they could do to all living things. Plastic is now a part of everyday life and has many innovative uses. However, we have far fewer solutions for disposing of it. Meet Gilbert, the robotic fish who guzzles microplastics like they're plankton. Why should we be worried about microplastics? The first fully synthetic plastic was invented in 1907, and since then, its use has grown exponentially. Plastic is now a part of everyday life and has many innovative uses. However, we have far fewer solutions for disposing of it. Sadly, around 10 million tons of plastic finds its way into the ocean every single year. Microplastics are defined as plastic particles smaller than 5 millimeters, 0.2 inches. They are formed when plastic bottles, clothing, packaging, etc. break down in the environment. Microplastics are found in the ocean, rivers, lakes, soil, rain, and inside the bodies of animals, including humans. These particles are incredibly persistent in the environment. They do not biodegrade or dissolve. The tiny particles are consumed by plankton and fish and enter the food chain. Getting rid of them from our environment is a huge challenge. But the challenge has been accepted. Gilbert was created by a student named Eleanor McIntosh as an entry for the University of Surrey's public competition, Natural Robotics Contest in 2022. It's a 3D printed robotic fish that looks and moves like the real thing. Gilbert is about the size of a salmon and has a flexible tail that allows it to move through the water. Inside Gilbert's head, there is a cavity, mouth, through which water enters. Once the cavity is full, the mouth shuts. The artificial gill flaps open, the water is pushed through the filters in the gill flaps, which remove the microplastics, and clean water exits the robofish. It's hoped that, eventually, Gilbert will be able to convert microplastics into energy to power itself. For now, however, it runs on battery. This is an open source design, and anyone with access to a 3D printer and basic electronic knowledge can build one. It's because they talked about how it's open source. Anyways. Next up, we have new volcanic ash as natural fertilizer from impactful.ninja. Again, reported other places, but I liked their take on it. So, how volcanic ash is becoming a natural fertilizer. The big picture: every time Mount Etna erupts, towns on its slope face up to 17,000 tons of volcanic ash per day, a costly burden that has pushed some Sicilian municipalities to the brink of bankruptcy. For years, farmers believed the ash was harmful to crops, but a 5-year study by the University of Catania revealed its surprising agricultural potential. Rich in iron, aluminum, and silica, Etna's ash can act as a natural fertilizer, helping drain excess water and reduce the need for chemical inputs. Similar discoveries have been made in Iceland, where wheat farmers noted that fields left untouched after the 2020 Eyjafjallajökull eruption produced crops that looked as healthy as first-year fields years later. What was once viewed purely as a hazard is now being reconsidered as a resource across multiple industries. Why is this good news? Repurposing volcanic ash as fertilizer offers farmers a free, naturally occurring soil amendment that cuts chemical use and lowers costs, a win for both their wallets and the environment. Reducing reliance on synthetic fertilizers also means lower carbon emissions tied to their production and application, quietly supporting broader climate goals. For municipalities struggling with expensive ash disposal, recycling it commercially could slash costs by 90%, freeing up public funds for other needs. Beyond agriculture, volcanic ash shows promise in road construction, wall insulation, water purification, and even 3D printing ink, pointing to a wide range of circular economic opportunities. Turning a chronic natural disruption into a multi-sector resource demonstrates how communities can adapt creatively to their environment rather than fighting it. What's next? Sicily published regional guidelines in 2024 for using volcanic ash, but a certified list of companies authorized to collect and refine it for commercial purposes has yet to be established. Researchers are working to make systemic ash reuse more widely accepted and officially regulated under European environmental law. In the meantime, individual farmers and artists continue to lead the way by putting volcanic ash to practical and creative use. And lastly, in our environment and conservation news, we have from Scientific American, so you don't think I just pick random weird publications, scientificamerican.com, the long-lost page of Archimedes' writings rediscovered in France. The discovery adds to the Archimedes palimpsest. What's palimpsest? I don't think I want to know. An important medieval manuscript containing texts from the Greek mathematician Archimedes. The Archimedes palimpsest is one of the treasures of antiquity. This medieval manuscript, dating back to the 10th century, includes copies of the writings of Archimedes of Syracuse, a Greek mathematician and scientist who laid the foundations of modern calculus, geometry, and fundamental physics. I will note, Scientific American's the first person I found a typo on. And now, scientists have recorded one of the lost pages of the pamphlet, shedding more light on the great scientist's mathematical thinking. The page has been missing for years. We know that in 1906, a historian photographed much of the manuscript, but sometime later, some of the pages mysteriously went missing. Researchers discovered the missing sheet, page 123, in the Museum of Fine Arts in Blois, France, according to the French National Center for Scientific Research, CNRS. One side of the page includes a writing from Archimedes' treatise on the sphere and the cylinder, much of which is legible, according to the CNRS. The text on the other side of the page is less certain. Whatever was written there is covered up by a gilded illustration of the biblical prophet Daniel. Researchers hope to use X-rays and other advanced imaging methods to uncover the text under the drawing. Archimedes lived around 250 BCE in Syracuse in ancient Greece and was among the world's greatest thinkers, responsible for theories, experiments, and inventions about math, physics, and engineering that still intrigue scientists today. Legend has it that Archimedes died doing math at the hands of a Roman soldier while making a calculation in the sand, though this has never been confirmed. The rest of the Archimedes pamphlet set is housed at the Walters Art Museum in Baltimore, Maryland, although it's unclear if the missing page will be added to the collection. Now, in wildlife and nature news, we have from getsurrey.co.uk, large tortoiseshell butterfly spotted in England 30 years after being declared extinct. The large tortoiseshell has only had rare sightings over the last 3 decades, but experts say any updated list of species would probably class it as no longer extinct. A charismatic butterfly classified as extinct for 3 decades has been seen across various parts of southern England. The large tortoiseshell has experienced only sporadic sightings over the past 30 years, but specialists suggest any revised species catalog would probably class it no longer extinct. According to butterfly conservation, wildlife enthusiasts have captured images of the butterfly in Hampshire, Sussex, Dorset, Cornwall, and the Isle of Wight during the past fortnight. The organization noted that whilst there have been occasional sightings throughout the years since its extinction, they are becoming progressively frequent. Butterfly Conservation's head of science has now indicated that should the charity refresh its official catalog tomorrow, it would likely classify the large tortoiseshell as no longer extinct. Professor Richard Fox commented, "This is great news about a beautiful and charismatic butterfly. If the individuals that are being seen can survive and reproduce, then there's no downside to the large tortoiseshells coming back, and we can look at what we might be able to do to help it." The large tortoiseshell Nymphalis polychloros is a large, vibrant butterfly featuring orange, black, and blue wings. It shares close relations with the small tortoiseshell, but displays distinctive markings. The species was previously distributed throughout England and Wales, but was last documented as a resident breeding species in the UK during the 1980s. Adults predominantly lay eggs on elm trees, and the population decline has been associated with the widespread problem of Dutch elm disease throughout Europe in the 20th century, reports The Mirror. Now, the large tortoiseshell's only natural enemy are young men with pin boards. All right, and as well, for children and animals, we have from bbc.co.uk, children paint pebbles for penguins to celebrate breeding season. If you were thinking of the most popular gifts people give each other, you might think of chocolates or maybe flowers, but if you were a penguin, then things would likely be very different. Some species of penguins, like the Gen 2, would be rubbing their wings together at the thought of getting a pebble. Yes, you read that right. They often scoop them up in their beaks and carry them to a partner, and they are then used to help grow a nest for the family. To celebrate the start of the penguin breeding season, a group of children have been painting special pebbles to give the birds at Edinburgh Zoo. Children are being helped by Edinburgh's Children's Hospital charity, got involved in the sessions, which are being run by the wildlife conservation charity, the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland. The sessions were designed to bring the children closer to nature and the animals. Some of the pebbles have already been given to the penguins at the zoo. The live cameras there mean the children can see the penguins pick up their painted pebbles as they use them to build nests. And for our last article today in community and human interest from the goodnewsnetwork.org as well, we have a postal worker drives 52 miles after work to return a lost wallet found in negative 11 degree Fahrenheit weather. From CBC News Pittsburgh, everyone in life has likely gone through it at least once. Losing a wallet can be stressful to say the least. So can delivering snail mail in negative 11 degrees Fahrenheit. But that didn't stop a Pennsylvania postal worker from doing a good deed when presented with the opportunity. 25-year-old Bruce Arma, a new member of the mail team, found a wallet half buried in snow in Carapolis, New Pittsburgh. He tucked it away in his car and continued on his route, but not because he meant to steal anything. Finishing his shift, he looked to see if there were an ID of sorts that might have an address, and thankfully there was. Speaking with CBS News Pittsburgh's Barry Pintar, Arma explained why he struck out at the end of a long day in his own car to return the wallet to its rightful owner. "It was my father's good deeds," Arma said, explaining that his dad taught him that he should do the same in the stranger's position. He lost his wallet and someone returned it to him, so I was just returning the favor. His father's wisdom at heart, Arma arrived in Clinton, only to find that the wallet's owner had moved all the way to McDonald, which for readers not familiar with the area is many miles away. He nonetheless made the hike, driving 52 miles in total after work to and from the owner's house in order to return that favor his father had experienced all those years ago. There was $100 cash in there, credit cards, ID, healthcare cards, said the husband of the wallet's owner, Matt Bryan. He wanted nothing in return, he just said it was the right thing to do. Bryan wouldn't let sleeping dogs lie and quickly told his own mailman about the incident, who in turn told another postal service worker, who told another, until it caught the ear of their boss, who commended Arma for taking so much time and effort at the end of a long, taxing, cold day. His father would be proud. Also, they owe him some money. USPS owes him some money. All right. Okay. Well, I made it through the articles. I don't know. Okay. And that is the end of this week's articles. Hopefully they added a little positive joy to your life. And before we end, I have our final segment of the show, something I like to call a tale of two paragraphs. In this segment, hold on. I take the first and the last paragraph from an article on Substack or another similar source and read them to you to encourage you to go read the article yourself. Many articles have really great starts and endings, and sometimes this exercise in futility can spark someone to go read the whole article. The less I read, the better, but people often want to know how we got to endings more than the endings themselves. And maybe then you will go exploring the Substack and read the paragraphs in between. This week's article is from Substack, entitled I Hate You, Substack Girl, and comes from Eve. Quote, I hate you because you are thin and tiny. From your appetite of cigarettes and sugar-free Coke, I hate you because your accent color is dark red or some shade of forest green. Whatever to pair with your fetish for bootcut jeans and fur coats. All your music is an acquired taste, Ethel Cain, Bjork to Russian rappers built from internet clout and incest rumors. If you are young and white, you probably worship Kate Moss or some other problematic female figure. And what can I do about it? Several other paragraphs in between, and then an ending of, but on Substack, where girls seem to have it all, it's terrifying to watch all of you feel more human and alive and gracefully cool than I'll ever be, which is why I hate all of you. To read the middle and hear more from this modern philosopher, visit Eve on her Substack, thebaddaughter.substack.com. We hope you enjoyed our show, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, so I won't. Have a good day. I could cry at any second, though, that last article. I hate you.